And finally, our big final topic of this show is the future of Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige. So this is an interesting one because a couple days ago we heard head of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, is leaving. She quickly rebutted this now in a major statement. First, it was to CNN, but people were like, that's a lie. And she's like, so she just said, I'm not retiring. And at this time, rumors were Kevin Feige's being lined up to take over. But now it's Kevin Feige might just be looking to leave once he's produced X-Men. He wants to produce X-Men and then leave. Like,
Well,
that's his like end goal, you know?
But yeah, but at that point, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna like leave in like 15 to 20 years.
Well, okay. To be fair, he only wants to produce the first one, you know? And
Yeah,
kind
I
of
know. I'm
it
just saying,
over.
it's like at the rate they're going, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave in
Yeah.
like 10 to 15 years.
So
I was like, okay.
it's an interesting thing to look at because this would make sense to me. Kevin Feige got started in the business
Mhm.
with Richard Donner and his wife, Laura Donner, the Superman people, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
They brought him on as a low level executive to get their coffee, to get him into the business, starting with X-Men 1. And he was the one that was like, hey, let's make this more like the comics. And they're like, no, Kevin, nobody's going to like that.
Yeah, isn't like
Almost 30 years after, imagine if he puts out X-Men in 2030 right there on the spot. He's like, guys, I've been doing this for 30
yeah.
years. I can now walk away forever. You know, it's
Because
yeah.
like I'm trying to remember. It's like wasn't it like X-Men 1 where he was trying to sneak on stuff to the set,
Yep.
trying to getting
I
some of
mean,
the actors to some vague notion of how the characters would react in certain situations
Hugh
and stuff like that.
Jackman revealed during the press rounds of Deadpool and
Yeah.
Wolverine, he would individually sneak actors over, be like, hey, this is what your character does in the comics. Don't tell him, but try to do it like this. And Singer never picked up on it up until Hugh Jackman was like, can we wear the comic suits? And Singer was like, no, those are dumb. And they knew their limitations, you know? So, like, you know, Kevin leaving
Mhm.
would make me worried for Marvel Studios. But I think somebody like Brad Winderbaum,
Mhm.
who's been doing TV and been there side by side since like the early MCU days,
Yeah.
I think he shepherded him into the takeover, man.
Yeah,
Quite
it's
obviously, you know.
yeah. With the potential of Kevin Feige leaving, you would hope or would want someone to have a similar vision to what Feige had, in that trying to find a compromise between a modern take on an adaptation of these mythical heroes, not so much saying that, like, we are going to have them one to one as their comic counterparts, and not so far detached from saying, yeah, we're not doing that because that part of the character is dumb and fantastical and no one wants to do that, or the costume itself, depending on what it is too dumb, no one's gonna like get attached to that or even like that. You need someone that can have a middle ground with what Feige has been trying to do, or has done with certain things. Like I for one wasn't thinking we would ever get like almost super accurate comic suits until I saw, Captain
Right.
America and the Winter Soldier, where I saw Sam's suit, which was like 1-to-1 the comic,
Yeah.
and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And
Hmm.
that's what some suits transfer very, very well into live action, while others you'd have to adapt it to a modern sense because it may not be, I guess, to what the sensibilities of how material are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see that. But like these rumors saying that Feige's either gonna leave or he might go to Star Wars. I'm like, yeah, he might. But if he's saying that he wants to do X-Men, we're probably not gonna get X-Men until like 10 or 15 years. So he's gonna be there for another 10, 15 years. So I'm like,
Like,
it's like an event. It's like, we're gonna tell you that he's leaving eventually. And I'm like,
right.
okay.
Yeah. I think honestly, he's going to produce X-Men, put that into motion. Once the universe is reset, he's going to lay them a blank template, introduce X-Men,
Mhm.
and then he's out. He can,
Mhm.
like, people don't understand. Kevin Feige and the rest of his family lineage, as far as they live, they will never have to do anything again.
Oh yeah.
His
Oh yeah.
royalties from the MCU will be attached to everything. Any project they move
Yeah.
forward, like how Bill Finger and Bob Kane are credited for Batman still, and their
Yeah,
estates make million a year, like
yeah,
millions a year. That's Feige from this point on. He could
yeah,
literally quit today. He's going to make $30 million next year.
yeah.
To him, it's nothing. So he's doing this with passion, and I think he's realized that maybe it's probably going to be time because, like, at some point, he probably just wants to relax. Like,
Yeah, it's like after you've done mostly everything you potentially wanted to do, there's if you don't have anything that you're passionate to want to keep doing, it's like why why stay there if you're just going through the motions and you're not liking what you're seeing. So
right.
it might as well, be time to retire or go to a different division. Like what some people were saying with the rumors that, if he is tired of the Marvel set,
Hmm.
he'll go over to Star Wars because he's always wanted to do or
Yep.
promote or produce a Star Wars movie.
And, like, also, I remember people were bringing up who could replace Bob Iger. We know that
Hmm.
there's going to be an interim CEO that's probably going to last 3 to 4 years.
Hmm.
Could Kevin Feige, do they have it? And does he have the aspirations? Could he become Disney CEO? Like, that's a possibility,
That
you
is
know?
that
Like,
is very interesting because if he is, then you'd get some really really interesting projects that you wouldn't probably have gotten because of a certain CEO is saying we're always doing it this way. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep doing it because it makes us money in the short term, not the long term.
yep.
And and if he does, then you probably would get like if he has the vision for it, he could probably get more promotions for other stuff because like what people are complaining about, like for comics, they people found out and through some research is that for better or for worse, Disney as a whole just doesn't have like a promotional budget for comics. That's the
Yeah.
whole point for it, and that's the weirdest thing because people's like, no one likes comics. It's like no, they don't like promote it at all for the most part.
See, like, DC at least figured it out. At the
Yeah,
end of their trailers and TV spots, they highlight the comics that the
yeah.
story is influenced by. Marvel could do that, but they don't.
Yeah, because like for an example, I think it's not so much like for like a drastic example, comic fans in Japan, it's a niche, but the fans have made it some cons, and they actually had like writers and artists from the comic scene come over there and and talk with fans, and for the most part, the only thing that they are upset about is that Marvel or the comics industry as a whole don't promote at all
Yeah.
to them, and it's not and from what they've said, they're not they're not confused or anything by just jumping into a series midway because that's what they do from like manga with an
Right.
anthology
Yeah.
series where it could be chapter 2 on one series, but you got like three like 4 or 5 other series that you probably won't read, but
Oh, yeah.
you have the book, so you might as well just finger through it to see what's happening, and you
Yeah.
might like it and keep
I
reading.
mean, if you look at their animes and mangas like Macross, aka
Yeah,
Robotech in
yeah,
over in our area, there's something new every year. At this point, the continuity so far is just jumping at any of them
yeah.
because you
That's
can't go all the way back to the 80s and start catching up with like
yeah.
13 different series and 25 films. It's like,
Yeah, that's just what it is that they're not born to that aspect
yeah,
of just jumping into a series if they like it. Because
right.
from what I've seen from the comic shops over there, they have series from like the 70s and 80s, and they're eating it up because they like that stuff, and that's
Uh-huh.
what I hoped from a new CEO, especially with Feige, where there is a renewed interest and investment with a lot of their IPs, and that we would see more animation side, and that would promote the products, and then we could see more promotion that promotes the products in an interesting way, and not just one little ad on YouTube that gets like 20,000 views and no one ever sees it.
Yeah, it's wild to me, but again, their thinking is different. So maybe Kevin can fix this up down the road, or maybe not. I don't know.
Mhm.
When we find out more about him, it'll be years from now. And I
Yeah.
assume it's not going to be a sudden thing. They'll announce that he's leaving because it's going to be a big deal. So when we get to that, not if, when, we'll talk about it. So stay tuned for more. And that has actually brought us to like the end of the main show. 3 topics would have been 4, but we joined the Green Lantern and WB stuff. Obviously, thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will. And if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.